Hello, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I am so glad you're here. Today's date is Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. Now, for those of you who wonder where my fur baby is, because she doesn't show up on camera much anymore, Allie has been helping through this whole production. I want you to know she's still very involved because she thinks the name of this little channel is Laura's View and Allie too. So I'm going to let you see her with the other camera where I'll be working with the cards in a little bit. You can see she's camped out. And if I can get her to look up, hey, look at the camera, look up here. Look up, say hi to everybody. Okay, so she is part of the show, never fear. There's no place in this home that's off limits to her. You know, she's a member of the family. So just want to assure you about that. One other thing, today after the video, I do have an afterword that has absolutely nothing to do with current events. So I will be speaking for a minute after I conclude things. But let's get into this because I try not to take up too much of your time. I woke up this morning to hear that there were widespread power outages, primarily involving AT&T, but some other carriers too. The outages were extensive enough that it was even affecting cell phones, and people were told if they needed emergency services, that they needed to try other social media to contact their services. So if you're like me and you're awake and you're waiting for some announcements that kind of signal some definitive public change, we get excited when we get notices like that. 2 days ago, my power went off for a couple minutes. I was so excited. Is this it? Is this it? Whereas other times you think, okay, where's the number for the power company? Once you're awake, that's not it. I mean, the first thing I do when the power goes out is see if my phone's off too. So I can see, is this an EMP event or is it a power outage or what's going on? So I thought what I want to do today, I've got a compilation to show you. I think this is one of my more important compilations. I realize some of you don't want to go to where I post those on Facebook. So I'll try to be very clear about where I have them because I'm going to teach you how to do some of the status checks that I do when I get a notice like the power outage for AT&T. And they're very conventional places, but if you haven't found them previously, you'll have them after this video. So we're going to compilation, and then I'll get into what our tarot read's going to be. Okay, so just one second. If you want to access the compilation, it will be available via a Facebook link that'll be in my video description box. Here we go. Not trying to be cryptic, I just trying to set it up so you know what we're going to be seeing. Okay, so I got up this morning and I saw that AT&T had a power outage. And I started checking some sites I have bookmarked, and it dawned on me that there may be more people than previously who are willing to look up statuses and just realize to get some truth, we have to do some digging and some looking. So here's some of the places that I go when I hear there might be an event, or I want to see if something that is a blip on one type of monitor, like power outages, is also showing up as a blip in earthquake activity or the Schumann resonance. So here we go. If you go to downdetector.com, this was my first stop. You can see here's where AT&T had all this trouble earlier today. Okay, and now currently they're in good shape. Going down through here, Spectrums, which is my internet provider, has some issues. Okay, Twitter has got some. You can go down through and see who's having, see, Reddit had a huge blip. GCI is still having problems. Can you see what I'm doing? This is the current status. Okay, so there are some internet blips and outages going on. And then you'll notice I have a reply here. 4 hours ago, I took a screenshot of what was showing to see if you want to do some comparisons. So these were all taken 4 hours before I made this video. So they were taken at 12:46 to 12:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's go on down to the next one that I consult. Okay. At www.thousandeyes.com/outages. Here's internet specific outages for the world. Now, I know they don't have monitors all over the place, and the internet is available almost worldwide without exception. So obviously the biggest reporters are coming from the United States, because I know Canada's probably got one or two outages. You know, there's some, but you can see primarily where the issues with the outages was coinciding with the reported outages for some service providers. And again, I took a screenshot of 4 hours ago to see what was happening there in case there were some big, blips. Now let's go to the next one. So we've checked with specific internet providers. Now, when I want to see if there's some widespread power outages, especially if I hear that there are some earthquake activity and things like that, I go to powerautages.us. And as you can see, this is current time as I'm making this video right now. Alaska has said, but they're getting a lot of snow. They've had several some outage issues. And understand percent of the population, for them, a yellow is quite a bit of more of the population than California. I mean, Alaska has less than, well, they've got 229,997 customers they track, compared to 15 million here. So when there's 10,000 out here, it's not nearly as significant as 10,000 out there. Bet you didn't know I was going to put my teacher hat on today when I started this video for you, did you? Not to be outdone, let's look at the heartbeat of the Earth, the Schumann resonance. Okay, now this one, I'm just going to suggest that you pause the video if you don't want to check my Facebook link. It's sosrff.tsu.ru. And as you can see, this is not in English, but I don't need it in English to look at the numeric values and see that right now, with no significant white lines, things are pretty calm for the heartbeat of the Earth. Then I check the Geiger counter map. This shows the world, and obviously these are where they've got reporting stations. So, and you need to be aware, if you decide to look at this, there are some places that have yellow and even some red, but they're usually layered in these densely populated areas. You have to keep going closer. I'm hitting the plus button and closer. Now, currently, I don't think we have any red ones in the United States, but oh, we do. Over here, Julie, near Salt Lake City, you got one. Let's go closer and see. Yeah, 5,494. Anything over 200 CPM? Yeah. Oh my goodness. So Salt Lake City, Utah, you either have a monitor that needs to be reset, or you've got some big issues you need to be explaining. Okay, there's usually a hotspot over near Washington, D.C. Again, no surprise. And again, you have to get closer and closer. Now, this isn't too hot. It's yellow, so it's not too hot. But it's layered under others that have 111. So I would not, I feel like I was in a microwave if I was in Salt Lake City right now, if that's accurate. Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, so now we've checked radiation worldwide. You can check electricity, we're checking internet, we're checking the Schumann resonance. And then I check the earthquake this is specific to the United States right now, but I believe we can go farther afield with them, maybe not. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so there's some fault lines here, and you have to play with this site a little bit. I go up here to the settings, and I specify that I want to see usually all magnitudes in the US, but here's the worldwide one, although it's only for the last 30 days. So they do have some worldwide data for those of you that are outside the perimeter of the United States and watching this. But you can see in the last 7 days for the United States, there's been not a lot of surprising activity on the West Coast because they've got a lot of fault lines. There's always, I lived right there for 30 years. There's always earthquake activity along the Aleutian chain in Alaska. So that's no big surprise. But then when we get some, like a few months ago, when we were getting reports of all that activity down in South Carolina that we thought was maybe some tunnels getting dealt with, we were able to track the lines of the earthquake activity with that. Interesting to look down here. They're moving and shaking things down near Gitmo. So the spa maybe getting some shakes, or has in the last week. And again, you can click on a dot, see when it was, okay? That's off of Puerto Rico, but Puerto Rico's in the vicinity of getting close. So Puerto Rico's got some shaking going on. Okay, interesting. To me, it is. So those are some of the places. I just have them bookmarked on my computer. And if you want to bookmark something, you press this little star here and you bookmark a page if you haven't done that before. So here are some of the things I check. Earthquake activity, which kind of coincides with tsunami warnings. And now let's get into a couple of the things that made me check these today to see if there was more going on worldwide. Today is a delta for a 17 drop. February 22nd, 2019. They were talking about the internet infrastructure is under attack. This was breaking news back then. And then the post itself says tools of prevention online, evil's trying to prevent, truth from spreading, ? So interesting that there was a delta, an anniversary of a very specific post about internet outages when that was the big thing in the news this morning. And wondering if there was a little more. This is a test, a very cryptic Elon tweet that came out almost 24 hours ago. Was he warning us that the outages we'd be seeing today, about those, that it was just a test? And that's what I'm going to kind of hinge my question on. Okay, I got to stop the share. I hope I didn't waste your time and you found that informative, so that you can, if you're interested, have a few at your fingertips ways to get, a dipstick on some things happening in the world, from, radioactivity to earthquakes to the Schumann resonance, and then on to power outages and things like that. So I hope that helps you. Those are some of the ones I check. And once I have them bookmarked, it just takes a few minutes to see if there's anything significant showing up when I go to those sites. So we're going to ask the cards. Today was a delta for a post about internet outages and how there was some structural changes happening. Structural being to the the hierarchy, I believe. Let's see. I want to ask if Elon was giving us a hint that when we saw these outages, because that was just a few hours before they started, that they were test activities. So is there our question is going to be to the universe, is there a connection between Elon's post, social media post about this is a test, and then the subsequent significant internet outages that we're seeing today? And is there further insights and information the universe would want to layer into that? Just is there a connection, and then insights and information? Let's find out. I'm going to switch the camera. Allie has moved for the moment. And work with the cards, and we'll see what the universe wants us to know about this topic. Okay, so our question to the universe is, yesterday's cryptic tweet by Elon that this is only a test occurred hours before significant and making mainstream news across the country internet outages were being reported. There's still some in process, kind of more than usual. So was this regarding the internet outages, and is there other insights or information the universe wants us to know? Okay, our first card is the King of Swords, Death, the Three of Wands, Eight of Wands, the Magician, another 8, the 8 of Swords, and then the 9 of Pentacles. I'm going to share the insights I'm getting from the cards, and we'll look at elements of them that lead me to say what I'm going to say as far as insights and answers. Now, as you can see right now, we don't have a definitive hard yes saying that there's a connection between that tweet and those internet outages, but the universe is really anxious to talk about those outages. I can tell you that. Okay, first of all, it's interesting that the question was involving Elon, and he is shown as a white hat here with the King of Swords. I do believe that the current Elon is a 2.0 and is solidly in the white hat camp. That's what I get from the cards. That's what my gut tells me, my discernment, and I'll stand by that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But right now, the one we've got, he's playing a part. He is part of the alliance and playing his part well. Now, the reason I said that the universe really wants to talk about those internet outages, the death card showed up, and that is talking about a long, slow change, a transformation. And we know that our world is going from dark to light, politically, dimensionally, just in every way possible. You know, we're on an ascension path as humanity and as a plane of existence. And so this was indicative of those changes that are coming. Now let's look at the recent past. We've got the 3 of Wands showing up here, and the 3 of Wands is usually one about there's an obvious path available and you're getting ready to start on it without reservations or, you know, qualms, just kind of like, okay, here we go. We're setting off on a new path. We've got an event card showing up here with our first of our 8s, the 8 of Wands. So lots of fast moving action. Wands are a fast moving action type of thing. So we are getting into a state, and this is on the current line. So we're getting into a spot where we're going to be seeing more and more of these outages. Things are ramping up. If you can't feel it, it's getting to the point that you can see it with the power outages today, the internet outages. And if you look at a few of those links that I shared with you, you can kind of keep, you know, take the pulse of some of the changes that we can see going on. So we got white hat card for Mr. Musk, just kind of, he was signaling, I do think, like I said, it's not a hard yes, but I think it's a very solid, you know, soft yes embedded in this. Now, we had some 8s that showed up. We had an 8 here and an 8 here. And when there's multiple 8s in a reading, when there's 2, it kind of indicates something interesting. First of all, it indicates that a job's being well done, number 1, and it's a stepping stone to further activity down the road. So that's why I said we're getting some soft yeses in here, and that's what the elements of the card that are leading me to say that. In the near future, we have the Magician showing up. Our second major arcana so far. We've got the long, slow changes showing up with the Death card. Then we have the Magician, and I love the Magician. The Magician is a card of manifestation, of making the outcomes you want happen. Doing it with, he indicates balance. He's got infinite access to all the elements for that, just like we do once we tap into it. And change is coming. And it's up to us to continue to make sure that that change is good and going from dark to light. Now, on either side of that, kind of making me feel like, okay, we've got our 8 here that we kind of talked about, indicating that there's more to come, okay, that a job's being well done. That's the 8 element of this. The rest of the card always talks about how there's truth available to us that's really, we're kind of in a holding pattern, but it's a willing holding pattern in some ways. And I think we who are patriots and awake know that. We want to see some conclusions, but we know that freeing our world of evil that has had thousands of years to embed and to orchestrate is not going to happen fast. We want some surface things to happen fast, some political things, some humanity things, but change is going to be a little bit slow. But again, so we're willing to do some waiting as things get manifested, but the time of waiting is rapidly coming to an end. The 9 of Pentacles is a card that shows independence and love sovereignty, and there's a lot of, again, the good of humanity is a prime consideration of what's going on. We are going to have some more internet outages. I'm not going to go so far as to say that there's going to be an EBS type of thing. There have been some, but they're not nationwide or worldwide. And although I'm all for the worldwide, let's just do it. But I'm not seeing that is going to be what happens in the cards. I think just like with the EBS is going to be site specific, depending on, the area of the country or the world. I think the outage is similar. And while those outages are doing, there's other things going on, whether it's roundups or data dumps or, backups, something like that. There's lots of things going on. Let's get a couple more cards because I think this is an interesting topic, and we'll conclude with 2 more cards and see what the universe wants us to know. Okay, we got the 3 of Swords and the 7 of Swords. Okay, we were asking for specific information about these outages. Okay, they are not going to be totally honest about them. This 3 of Swords. Now, he can be telling me a couple things. He landed on top of my Elon card, and it's just confirming that Elon is a 2.0, but also just the whole situation. As with so many, there's some things that are on a need-to-know basis, and we're just not going to have the candid and really open acknowledgement of what was going on during some of these activities. Okay, and then the 7 of Swords is usually one where this one usually shows up with the deep state for me. That the deep state is happy to settle for a lot less than they wanted. They're going to continue to try to retain as much power, to position themselves for a possible eventual, return or what have you. But this is kind of a deep state card. So both of these are just saying that even though there was the effect of this was good and the purpose was good, we're not going to get some candid reporting about it, but no surprise there. We don't expect candid. We kind of know how they operate, and being candid and truthful and forthright and ethical just aren't in their cards. But let's have them be in ours, okay? So let's recap. We looked at the 5-year delta of a post that talked about internet outages. Coincidentally or not coincidentally, we had internet outages making major news in the United States today. That kind of started the framework of our question. I was curious because yesterday, just hours before those internet outages started, Elon had posted a very cryptic, "This is a test." And I wondered if there was a connection, if he was trying to give people a heads up to expect that, not to assume it was the big event, but simply a test for a bigger event that is coming along. We asked the cards about that, and we didn't get a definitive hard yes with the typical ace of any of the suits that shows up. But we got some interesting cards that did indicate a yes and that there's more to come. First of all, Elon, you showed up as the King of Swords. Beautiful alliance card, high-ranking alliance card, definitely a white hat. The change that these outages today are part of the change that's happening in our world. There is a connection. There is. We have the death card telling us a little more about this. That this long, slow change is kind of getting a little more obvious and coming to a point where there is going to go from drip, drip, drip to trickle. I think we're at the trickle stage and heading toward that flood stage where cards get laid on the table, no tarot pun intended, and people learn what's what and start getting some truth, and it's up to them to put their big girl panties on or big boy panties on and just deal with it. Okay, now we had a couple of 8s show up, and when there's multiple 8s in the first part of the layout there, that indicates, especially when it's 2, that it's a work in progress and there's more to come. And you're hoping it will get noticed, that work in progress too. There's a little element of that in there. So they being the white hats, wanted people to be looking at those outages, speculating if there's more going on in the background, because yes, indeed, there was. Now, in the near future, they're going to be manifesting or making manifest a lot of other changes. So the changes are happening. You know, the phrase "nothing can stop what is coming" is absolutely true. And the magician showed up for the near future that more change is coming. And I wasn't worried about the changes coming because, first of all, one of our eights here saying that there's more to come, and they want you to notice the changes and the things that are happening. This is a kind of a willing, patient waiting card, but that the truth is available. It is available. Now, it's not in plain sight. She's got to remove her blinders to see it, but it is there. But in the meantime, if someone's asked her to hold still and just be ready, now she has. Then on the other side of that magician was the Nine of Pentacles. And this is a card of independence and love and abundance and having enough, having enough. In fact, probably a little more than enough. So beautiful card there. So we got some information from that. The outages today weren't random. They were specific. They were purposeful. There was activities going on in the background during these. There is a connection between that. This is a test. It was to kind of tell people, don't get ready. You don't have to be too concerned that this is it, but we're getting closer because we're testing the systems. Okay, system checks. And so there was a connection there. And I love that the multiple eights indicating that there's more change coming, that the progress is good, there's more change coming. So we're going to see more things like that. Again, this gives we, the regular people, a little chance to just kind of assess and go, okay, well, if the internet's out for a few days, what do I do? If power's out for a few days, I don't think it will be. Okay, so I'm not wanting anybody to start worrying, but have you prepared yourself mentally and then physically as much as possible? I mean, people are so tied to electronics for their entertainment. Have you got some books and checker games and a couple of decks of cards to just entertain yourself? If there's no internet entertainment, think about that. And I've always said, it's just smart to have a little extra food on hand so you don't have to get out. If we're 3 hot meals away from anarchy, have a few at home, but don't feel bad if you don't have a month's worth of supplies. Okay, if you within your budget can have a few extra meals kind of set away that store long-term, peanut butter and jellies, good, just whatever, do the prep you can do without worrying about it. Same thing with cash. I keep a little cash here at the house just in case for a few days I can't get to the bank or the banks aren't up. I have a way to pay for things. Nothing big, not like I used to do when I was younger and more spry. And fully intended to put on a 50-pound backpack and head off into the bush till things settle down. Those days are gone. But I still have a little extra food. I've got some cash on hand. I've got some ways to keep myself warm if it's winter and the power goes out for a while. So just, candles for light. They also give off a little heat. Just a few little things like that. Just give me peace of mind knowing, well, I could, I can survive a few bumps without even a blink if I have to. And I hope you feel that way too. Okay, big change is coming and good change is coming. And we are part of watching it happen and cheering it on. And by wanting it and picturing it, that's the manifestation process. We're helping it to happen. So that's it for this video, the politics part of it. And I do thank you for your time. I know I went a little long today, but I really just felt that people needed some of those touch points that I was sharing with you for electricity and seismic activity and Geiger counter activity and things like that. And I thought it'd be nice to just devote part of a video to that so that if you're interested, you can look those sites up and bookmark them and that way access them yourself when you think that there's something going on. And is it connected to the earth? Is it connected to this activity? You can kind of do a little checking. So thank you so much for your time. If you're willing to receive it, I send you love and light and everything bright. Bye. Now the after work I talked about, I don't know if anybody's still watching. If you are, hi, I'm glad you are. Amazon sent me a little gift and it was from Denise M. And Denise, I want to, without being specific about the gift, because I don't want people to feel like they have to do a certain set thing. I don't want people to ever feel they have to do anything for me gift-wise or support-wise. But I want to thank you for taking the time to send me a gift, and it is appreciated, and it was beautiful. So thank you very much. Okay. And back to that about the gifts. Guys, I'll never charge you for the content I create. Yes, I've gotten a little criticism that I have a buy me a coffee account, but I've never asked anybody to send money on it, and I won't. It was kind of in response to what people had asked that I did that. And Buy Me a Coffee doesn't take as many fees out as YouTube does with their super thanks. So it's just an avenue for those that wanted to give a gift. That's all. Nothing I'm going to hint at or need. I've always said, and I mean this so much, that I appreciate your support. I'm talking about the prayers and positive intentions and just the beautiful energy that you send my way that keeps me able to speak out like this, keep my platform up, and to have the energy that's negative sent my way. It doesn't ever even land because of you helping me to just keep that vibration high, keep our eye on the prize, which is freedom for humanity, for our beautiful earth to evolve to. It's been held back even more than humanity has. And for those good changes to come out for humanity so that we can start having the opportunity to work for our potential. Nothing of that. That's why I don't sell products. I don't endorse products. I don't push products. I won't. Okay. So if I thank someone for a gift, they've given it of their own free will, and I would have been just as happy with prayers and positive intention. I want to be very, very clear that if someone calls me a grifter, I want them to be delusional. And right now, as far as the way I've conducted myself since starting this channel, I absolutely know that whenever anybody's tried to put that label on me, they did so delusionally. And I'm going to keep it that way. Okay, so if you stayed for the little afterward and me talking, I appreciate that too. And I thank you so much for your time. Quick reminder, Sunday we're going to have our meditation, and the focus is on inner peace. Finding it and embracing it and having it kind of be a constant for us and for those we love and care about that are willing to have us just put that hope and manifestation onto them. Again, we work within the reins of free will for ourselves and for others, but that's going to be our focus on Sunday. And the time will be 2:00 Eastern Standard Time. And that equates to 7 p.m. in on London. So you can, I did an announcement about this last week, and in the video description box, I put a little time and date converter for you. So if you can't do it mentally, if you haven't joined us before, because it's the same time I've always had it, you can join us and check what time. You're welcome to join us. It's non-denominational. And, we're told in spiritual circles that if 20 people gather together of a like mind, they can change something. And we always have more than 20. These do help change and raise the vibration and the frequency. And our world is changing in part because of us and our collective desire to see that freedom achieved, that autonomy, sovereignty, and the ability to work towards our best potential. We're making it happen. And I hope you feel that. I do. So I thank all of you. We'll never have thousands in my meditation, not at one time. And I accept that. That's fine. We always have way over 20. And enough of us are online that and of a like mind that we're making a change. So be part of that change if you want to. We'll see you there. Until next time, I send you, if you're willing to receive it, love, light, everything bright. Bye.